Hansi, second by Mr. Dahl. Questions or comments? All in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Number 7, public hearing. There is none this evening. Number 8, general business. 8A, continuation discussion, proposed changes to water and sewer rate structure. What do we need here, Kathy?
When I talked with Bill and Mark a little bit, they can come back at the next council meeting with those new numbers and the new information, and then at that time, we can set a public hearing for January to have a meeting, to actually have a public hearing to set the rates then.
Okay.
Then that way, we keep moving along, and even though it's not technically in place, you know, at least we're moving forward on it, and we'll have it all set up. And then, we take quarterly readings of water anyway in June, so we can have a new rate go into effect in February, whatever that rate's gonna be then. And
So
that's
I thought he
normally
said
the month
January. I thought he said we had to have it in place by the end of
in
December.
place, but there's no way we can physically get it in place, because we have to have a public hearing to change rates, and we can't do that until you see the new numbers they bring back, and then we have a public hearing in January.
So that would take place in the first council meeting in January?
Yeah.
And then is there a time frame of 2 weeks that, for a council meeting or a public hearing?
Well,
to be announced in the paper
We'll
and such?
announce that after your next meeting in December, when you meet with them, we'll set the public hearing, and I'll put that stuff in the paper then.
Okay.
So then we have the hearing in January. That's the fastest we can physically get it done.
Good to go? All right. Let's move on then. 8B, continuation of discussion on discretionary spending. Where are we at with this?
I guess staff is still wondering what needs to be discussed on this issue, if anything. A reminder that as you get these, all of these are the checks, the check requests that come to the council for your approval. The checks all have to be signed, hand-signed, by the mayor, the clerk, and myself. So if something isn't approved by council, the check isn't signed and goes out. I spoke to our auditor, and he mentioned that, in his opinion, we have great checks and balances. There has never been an issue as far as he's concerned with improprieties or any issues that he sees with the way that the city manages its funds and expenses. So I guess I'm asking what specifically you're looking for.
I was particularly thinking about Jeff and how much money he has leeway to spend. So is
Okay.
there a mandated amount? It said in here in this paper, it need to be with a resolution.
What this does is, this would allow you to delegate the authority for staff to spend money without your approval. And what I'm saying is that we don't spend any money without your approval, because the checks all come back to you for your approval. I can't just write a check. The checks have to be signed by the mayor and the clerk and myself after the council approves and authorizes it to be spent. So it's not like Jeff goes out and buys something and then Kathy writes a check and it gets spent and you don't know anything about it. You don't see the check, you don't approve it. What this allows you to do is to let us do that, where we could write a check and not have to come back to the council. And we're not asking for that.
Hopefully not.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, we've done, or the council has basically done this, right? I mean, we have delegated authority to you and to Kathy to pay the bills, on a regular basis, right? I mean, isn't that what?
According to statute,
Yeah.
correct. But the council's never given us the authority to just go and pay the bills and not come back to the council with the results on it.
Right, and that's why we have the list of the
Correct.
bills every month, and we do get a chance to review them and see them. Is there seemed to be some uncertainty about what exactly the limits were for,
Getting quotes and bids.
yeah,
Sealed
that
bids
we,
are
that we talked
100,000.
about that.
Yep. Sealed bids are anything over 100,000. Quotes are
25, but we often get quotes for some things less than that too, just so we know we're
Yeah.
doing the best deal. But the other thing with all the invoices that are paid, the department head signs off on every invoice before it even gets processed for payment. So I'm not the only one that looks at the bills and then prepares the check. The department head looks at it. So if one of Jeff's guys orders something or buys something, he still looks at that bill and tells me it's okay to pay. And it's according to what the budget is, you know, what the line item is. If he knows there's, you know, this is a sewer pump, then that's maintenance repair. It could be $1,000 for a repair part, or it could be $10 for a repair part. And we don't really have anything in writing that says, you know, are you gonna, does he have to come back to you to get approval to spend $1,000 for that pump? Or should we let the treatment plant sit for 2 weeks while we wait for that? You know, that's part of what you have department heads for, is to make those operating decisions.
And there are some decisions like that, and there are others, like bond payments, things that the council's already previously authorized that we keep making payments on in between meetings, because if we don't, we could get hit with a fee, a late fee, because sometimes they don't get the bills to us in time, or it can be an inconvenience for the other party. So every once in a while, you'll see checks that have been paid out, but you'll always see the register, so you'll understand what it's for.
And you'll notice there's always a check number on there too, which means that check's already been written. So I can't go change that check. I can't put somebody else's name on that check afterwards. I'd have to void it out. And the auditors, that's one of the things they look for is,
Right.
where are your voided checks and what's your sequence of numbers? And so, you know, when you get the list of checks, list of bills with check numbers on them, you can be assured that's where it's going. Or you'll get a list that shows where I voided it out because I made a mistake or something, or we didn't owe it. Like there was one in your packet where we had made out a check for $90 to post to pay for Nate Klinsky's license, and we didn't need to pay for it, so I just voided that check. But I usually try to put those in your packet too, so you see where it's voided back out.
And one of the other issues is that with the credit card, there is a credit card policy that the city has. It was adopted in 2003. And there again, that's checked by the department head, by Kathy, and then I check it. And that was a change that we did a couple years ago from the auditor, suggested that we do it that way. So there's extra set of eyes on the credit cards. Credit card, I guess.
Just out of curiosity, you said you didn't have to pay for Nathan Klinsky's
Right.
check?
Post license.
He was already licensed in another town, but they had just deactivated him when he stopped working.
So it
So
was
his
just
license was
re-
still there, so we just reactivated, yeah.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that at the time, and well, I didn't wanna take the chance either, so I thought we'd better get it, when we did the paperwork, didn't wanna delay anything, so.
Coming from, you know, through the co-op system where I work is not that much different than the system that's everybody works with here. I mean, I have to answer to a GM, Gordy, which ultimately Steve would be the GM here, and we're the board. We should be setting policy and direction, not worrying about a $3.50 light bulb,
Oh, I'm not worried about that.
or, for that matter, a $1,000 motor. Those are the guys that work with it every day. I mean, I do, you know, I think that in general, staff has done a good job of bringing stuff back to us and keeping us in the loop of something.